Oh, thank God it got better. I enjoyed this episode more. It's still not fantastic or anything, but there is real improvement here that I was very happy to see. And you know what? Some of the improvement here, like, really, I think, emphasizes what I thought was a problem in previous episodes, and I'll get to that in a minute. But one thing I want to say is probably the worst thing about this episode is its damn runtime. Why is it so short? It's not even 30 minutes long. Like, damn it, Disney Plus! I'm finally like having starting to have a good time watching this show, and you can't let me enjoy it for 30 damn minutes even. These episodes are so short. And by the way, somebody commented, dude, the episodes are almost an hour long. What are you talking about? They are not. First of all, you have to take the credits out. There's like 7 minutes of credits per episode. I do not know why. So the episodes average like 33 minutes each, and this one's like 28 or 29 minutes, and it's ridiculous. And people have been saying to me, dude, like, what do you expect the budget? Like, it's a TV budget. They don't have enough budget to, like, make the fight scenes bigger or make the episodes longer. Okay, that is a bunch of horse crap, and let me tell you why. Like, and I don't blame you guys, but, like, let me point something out to you, okay? This show has a $15 million budget per episode, and some of you are like, well, you know, the money's not what it used to be, inflation. You know what else cost $15 million and just came out like a month or two ago? I think less than a month ago, maybe. I don't remember exactly. But you get the point. You know what else costs a total of $15 million and just recently came out? Godzilla -1. That whole movie, $15 million budget. And it's not like it was non-stop Godzilla or anything, but there was enough, and that movie was way longer than 29 minutes, okay? So, yeah, if they can make that whole movie with the same budget that each episode of this show gets, I really don't see the excuse. Where is the money going? But like I said, this is a better episode so far. I enjoyed it significantly more. I think the main reason being it finally slowed the hell down. I didn't feel like everyone was just constantly pumping out exposition or stuff. I felt like they were talking a little more. We were getting to know them as characters a little more. I actually enjoyed Annabeth more in this. She goes into her backstory, and it's right out of the book. And, you know, I thought when she was talking about it, I was like, oh, I'm seeing it a little now. There's some of that acting I was looking for. So maybe it's just, like, I really do think it's fully possible that the issues I had with her acting in the last episode were more just poor direction. Because a lot of you guys have been telling me, like, hey, look up the cast in interviews. They have really great chemistry and dynamic in interviews. It's like, great. Interviews aren't the show, though. And if it's true that she really does have great chemistry with everyone in interviews, then I'm all the more mad at the directors for not utilizing that properly. Another thing I liked about this episode was, I mean, okay, I'm gonna get into spoilers now, but come on, if we're on episode 4, you should expect it at this point. Like, the monster Echidna shows up, and let me tell you something. The moment she shows up, they do not identify her immediately. They have to figure out who and what she is, and they use clues to drop that in there. Like, they look at her, they notice that there's glass on her, which means she's burst into their room. You know, picking up on a little clue. That's something I would have liked with previous monsters. They say, hey, we've dealt with a lot of monsters. She goes, oh, yeah, well, those monsters were my children. And it's like, see, that's a hint that she's Echidna. So you can do this with the characters. I would have liked a little more of that with Medusa. And you know what else I like about Echidna in this? They don't try to make her, they don't, like, try to completely change or go all over the place with who she is. They just let her be a villain. And even though they're letting her be a villain, they still let her talk about, like, her motivation and stuff. She says that she sees demigods as the monsters because of all the trouble they cause. And, you know, if you know Greek mythology like I do, and like a lot of other people do, you can see where that thought process would come from. But of course, she's still the villain. She's still trying to kill some little kids to train her monster and stuff. But you know, there's also a little more depth added to her. And I thought that, I was watching this, I was thinking, this, yes, is what, like, I wish they'd been more like this with the Medusa scene, which is funny because Echidna has so much less screen time than Medusa did. I do still have small gripes, though. Echidna never takes her true form in this. I really would have liked it if she did. And look, the reason I want, like, Echidna to take her true form, and why I wish Medusa had a monster form, is because so far, the monsters in this show look pretty good. The Furies, one thing I have not mentioned up until this point is, I actually really like the Furies' designs in this show. I think they look really good. The Minotaur looked good. The Chimera looks really good in this episode, too, aside from one thing, which I'll talk about. Sorry about that. But, so, yeah, it's like if whoever's doing, like, the CGI designs, like, has talent. So it was really annoying to me that Medusa in the last episode had no cool monster design. I really don't get, like, I saw some people saying, oh, I loved Medusa's design in episode 3. I'm like, what design? Maybe you're talking about the outfit she was wearing, and yeah, I like that too. But when she takes the outfit off, I would have liked to see monstrous features and stuff, to emphasize the curse that Athena gave her. Because when all you do with Medusa is make the eyes glow a little and give her the snake hair, in my opinion, you've done the bare minimum. Just like the movie did. The movie did the bare minimum, and I thought the episode did the bare minimum with her design. Like, do something cool with it. Give her the boar tusks she is sometimes said to have. Give her scaly snake skin. Give her something cool. And so, yeah, I was equally a little disappointed that Echidna never takes her true form in this, because I was thinking, my god, what are they going to make Echidna look like? Echidna is such a, like, monstrous character in mythology, and, like, she's a little more obscure, so you can get even more creative with it, but they sadly don't do anything with it, and that bummed me out a little bit. Also, when the Chimera comes out, there's a couple questions I have about it. First of all, Echidna says that the reason she came here was to train her baby, like, teach it how to hunt, teach it how to kill half-bloods, and I believe it. I was like, oh yeah, that would explain why she doesn't just kill them right away. And it would also explain why this creature, also doesn't kill them right away. It's like, it's learning how to hunt. It's being taught. I thought that was actually a clever way to do it. But then it turns out the creature is the Chimera. I'm like, hasn't the Chimera been around for thousands of years? How does it not know how to hunt yet? The only justification I could think of is maybe this is a new baby Chimera, and not the original Bellerophon Chimera. Could be, I don't know. The episode never said whether it was or not. It's later identified as the Chimera, so I can only assume it's the Chimera. It's female in this episode, which is honestly fine because it's never been made completely clear if the Chimera is male or female. I've seen ancient depictions of it with a lion's mane, and I've seen ancient depictions without a lion's mane, so really could be either. Here's what I disliked about the Chimera. Aside from the design, which was really cool, there was no snake tail. Where's the snake tail, damn it? The Chimera is one of my favorite Greek mythical monsters of all. Chimera and Cerberus are probably the top two. And the Chimera is supposed to have the head of a lion, the body of the goat, and the tail of a snake. And that's often depicted as the tail having a snake's head at the end of it, or sometimes a goat's head protruding out of the body also. Now, they didn't have the goat's head protruding out of the body, fine. But they also don't have the snake head on the end of the tail, which, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm really sure that was in the book, to have the snake head there. And it annoyed me a little, because when she opens her bag and the when the tail comes out, I thought, oh god, it's gonna be the snake! We're gonna see the snake head. No snake head. Instead, the end of the tail has poison barbs. And I was like, that's the Manticore! That's not the Chimera! That's a completely different monster! Are you mixing them up now? It's like, how did that even happen? We know Rick knows the difference. Rick literally has the Chimera in one book and the Manticore in another book. So why would you merge the two together here? And here's the thing, Percy gets poisoned by one of the barbs in the episode. So you might be thinking, oh, well, they had to have it be the Manticore tail because they wanted to poison Percy for the episode. Like, they wanted that subplot to be going on. But here's the thing. All you have to do is have the snakehead tail and have the snake bite him, and you get the same effect. And it would have been a way cooler fight scene on the train with the tail coming out if the tail was a snake. And, imagine the snake zipping around and them trying to fight it off. And then it getting all the more threatening when the whole Chimera eventually comes out. I think that could have been so much cooler. What a huge missed opportunity. It really It really annoyed me that, especially because the rest of the Chimera's design was so good. So I was like, come on, how'd you screw up that bad on the tail? What happened there? I know it sounds nitpicky, but it's like, this was in the book, so why didn't you just, like, do it that way? And I love myths, and this is a completely different creature's tail. Like, what's going on here? It's weird. Also, the Chimera was very underused in the episode. It's like, you have this amazing design, and we don't get to see more of it. Like, again, where is that $15 million budget going? You could have had, like, I really wish the fight scene had gone on longer. Also, Echidna has telekinesis, I guess. It was really weird. She just opened up the floor with her telekinesis. And I was thinking, if you want to open up the floor, just have the Chimera blast fire through it or something, you know? Make the action scene a little longer. Would have been a lot more entertaining, in my opinion. But yeah, I do like how Echidna came in, wasn't immediately identified. I liked how she talked about, like, her motivation and stuff. Like, that, I was like, yes, this is... I feel like I'm getting out of this what I was supposed to get out of the Medusa scene. So, yeah. What I didn't like about the Medusa scene was it felt a little too all over the place. It felt really unfocused. It felt like they weren't sure which one they wanted to do. Like, she comes in, oh, this is a gift. Oh, no, it's not a gift, it's a curse, and I'm a victim. But then later it's like, it's a curse and I'm a victim, but I'm also a villain because I'm also killing innocent people. And some of you guys have said to me, well, maybe she started out as a victim, but, you know, hurt people hurt, so now she's killing other people. And maybe she just told herself it was a gift to make herself feel better about it. Okay, yeah, I can see what they were going for. It just didn't really work for me because I thought it was too all over the place. And I'm too used to seeing the Medusa story be really unfocused, so I felt like I was seeing it being unfocused again. And I was like, oh, not this again. And also, it really took me aback just how different from the books that whole scene was. So I think I just got annoyed and I wasn't taking it in properly. A lot of people really like episode 3. Good for you guys. I wish I did too, but I didn't. But I liked this episode better, so you can take some comfort in that. Small little nitpicks here and there. When Echidna said all the monsters you've killed so far were my children, that's not correct. I mean, Medusa is more often the child of Ceto, but there are versions where she's a child of Echidna, so you could say that one. But the Minotaur for sure is not a child of Echidna. There just ain't no way. The Furies are also not children of Echidna, so who are you even referring to, Echidna, when you say the monsters you killed were my children? You needed to alter that line a little. I don't know. There are ways to make it work better, but it's a huge nitpick. Like, it doesn't break the story or anything. I liked that they brought up the search for Pan in this episode. I've been waiting for that since episode 2, I think. So it was cool to hear that be referenced and set up and everything. Yeah, again, I like that the characters just kind of talk more with each other and it feels like they're connecting a little more. One thing that was a little weird was when they went to the Arch, they said they went there specifically because the Arch also acts as a temple of Athena, so no monsters can get inside. But apparently monsters can get inside because Athena's mad at Annabeth because they sent Medusa's head to Olympus. And look, I know Percy sent it to Olympus as a little passive-aggressive thing, but if you think about it, really... And maybe this is an issue with the book, too, but in the book, I don't remember Athena, like, doing anything to Annabeth as punishment for the head. I'm pretty sure the gods just sent the head back, if I recall correctly. But yeah, so that doesn't really make any sense for the demigods to send Medusa's head to Olympus and Athena to get mad about it, because if you know the actual Perseus story, Perseus sent the head of Medusa to Athena, and she was thrilled about it. So, it's like a direct contradiction. It's kind of weird. I don't know. It was a little weird. Like, I get what they're going for, but it doesn't make a lot of sense. And you really didn't need to even have that plot point, because you didn't need to say that the Arch is like this temple to Athena and we're going there because monsters aren't allowed in. You could have just had them go because Annabeth loves architecture. In the books, Annabeth loves architecture. She's a big architecture geek. So I thought this episode was an opportunity to have them like maybe they're passing the arch and they choose to stop there and go in because Annabeth loves that kind of stuff. And it could have been a really good bonding non-exposition moment to just show Annabeth like geeking out over it, because, and I think it would fit really well into the narrative they're doing right now, because Annabeth's had her guard up so much, and you could show them going in there and show her accidentally let her guard down and geek out about the place they're in, and you could have had like Percy smile at her and her be like, "What?" And he's like, "It's nice to see you smiling." And that could have built the chemistry really well, I thought. They had they tried to have a little something like that. I just, call me an egomaniac, but I think my idea is better. One moment I really liked, though, was when the when the Chimera is chasing them, and Percy's poisoned, and Annabeth tries to say, "Okay, Grover, you take Percy, you guys go, I'm gonna hold off the Chimera." And Percy pulls out his sword and goes, "Okay, here, use my sword if you're going to do that." But when she reaches for it, he pushes her to the side and closes the door and makes it so they have to get away now, while he holds off the Chimera. I actually love that scene. A, I didn't see it coming. And two, the second it happened, I was like, that's the Percy I know. There he is. That's more book-accurate Percy. Yes. Yes, I was happy to see that. And, yeah, then when Percy falls through the thing at the end, I knew Poseidon was going to save him, but I was still happy to see it happen. And then when he's in the water, when it looks like he's struggling, like, not to die. And Shane and I were watching, and we said out loud, "Dude, you can breathe underwater." Like, are they not doing that? Are they not doing the breathing, his ability to breathe underwater? But then it's revealed he can breathe underwater. He just doesn't know he can. I was like, oh, of course he doesn't know he can. Why would he just suddenly know that? I'm sure he's never tried to breathe underwater. I've never tried that. And yeah, then a narrate shows up and tells him, "Listen, your father does care about you. It's just, he's doing what he can. You need to trust, what you get from your father. So breathe. Go ahead and breathe. Like, let it out." And I actually liked that scene. I was like, you know what? I think that's actually a good way to have him, like, start to, like, trust his father a little more. Like, I liked that scene. Again, I haven't really been enjoying the overly moody, overly angsty Percy in the first few episodes, but the Percy I'm seeing here now is more the Percy I know and love. So I guess some of you guys were right when you said, oh, maybe they're building towards that Percy you know and love. It's like, okay, yeah, but I still really wish he had been at least a little more, likable and enjoyable in the earlier episodes. Like, again, I think him and Grover should have had a good dynamic from the start. They really screwed that up. And one of the reasons that kind of thing is important is because a lot of people are going to stop watching if they don't get into it in the first couple episodes, and a lot of people did. Tons of people have commented on my videos saying I was out after the second episode, or I was out after the first episode, or I was out after the third episode. See, this show has lost so much of its potential audience because it took too long to start, like, making the characters more enjoyable. That's a problem. But it's here, and I'm glad it's here. Okay, I liked the, him breathing underwater, like, scene. I liked the him, like, being willing to sacrifice himself for his friends scene. And I liked Annabeth talking about, like, her backstory. I like that, too. Grover doesn't really say much in this. I guess mainly the thing he says is the Pan thing, which I kind of like, too. So, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I like more the characters, just talking about who they are and what they're into, or talking with each other, instead of just dumping exposition over and over again. Even Echidna, like, talking about herself and what she believes. I thought that was much better handled. There are just some missed opportunities here. The whole Chimera thing was a little confusing. The lack of a snake tail really annoyed me. When it started to breathe fire, though, it looked like a snake hood came out of the face, so maybe that was supposed to be the snake representation. But A, the snake is not part of the face, and B, Greek snakes don't have hoods. That's not a thing. I've pointed that out in one of my God of War inaccuracy videos, so I'm sorry, you've been very Greek inaccurate with that scene. You were so close, because, again, you had such a cool Chimera design. It was so colorful and awesome, but it was underutilized and the snake tail was missing, and that's what annoys me, because you were so close to executing that perfectly. And also, yeah, I'm really annoyed by how short the runtime of this was. And one thing me, Shane, and Claire didn't really enjoy either was the opening scene at the pool, where he's a little kid, because it just felt really awkward. It felt really off and out of place. Just the way everyone was behaving, the way Sally was behaving, the way 6-year-old Percy was behaving. I don't know. At first we were thinking, like, why is he scared of the water? Shouldn't he feel better when he's in the water? But it's like, well, technically Thalia in the books, like, was scared of heights, even though she should be stronger at heights. And some of you guys are thinking, well, didn't you criticize Tyson for being seasick in the second movie? And it's like, yeah, look, there's a difference between being scared of something and becoming physically ill because of something. Like, water should not do that to children of Poseidon. But I guess I can understand him being scared of the water, just for the same reason Thalia's scared of heights. But that whole scene just felt really weird. Like, it felt weird to see Sally just losing her patience with Percy in a weird way. But I guess that's just a parent thing. I have to have kids before I can comment on that. But it also just was really awkward and strange, the way Percy started talking to her and saying, "You'll always be here." And I'm like, what are we doing? This feels very, very strange. Oh! One thing I want to brag about real quick is when I made my Sea of Monsters video, so many people told me I was the one pronouncing Thalia's name wrong. Because in that movie, they call her Talia. And I know Talia is a real name, but I also know Thalia's name is pronounced Thalia in the books. And you know how I knew that? I looked up the audiobook read by Rick Riordan himself. So I know for a fact that you're supposed to pronounce it Thalia. And yet, so many people in the comments were like, dude, you're the one pronouncing it wrong. It's Talia. You pronounce that name Talia. Well, you know what? Here's the TV series, and they're calling her Thalia. So, ha ha ha. All you haters, ha ha ha. Okay, my immature moment is done there. But basically, my overall thoughts are, even though this, I don't consider this fantastic. It's, like I said, there are a lot of missed opportunities and some things that weren't executed quite as well as they could have been, and the runtime is inexcusable. There are improvements with how the characters talk to each other. The villain is significantly better, in my opinion, in this one. You know, I'm a real sucker for a good villain. Like, I'm so tired, I say like way too much, I'm so tired of, like, a company, especially Disney, taking a really great villain and just saying, nope, was never a villain. Like what they did with Maleficent, what they did with Cruella, two villains I absolutely love who got completely ruined in their own movies. So when I saw it happen with Medusa, I was like, oh god, not another one. So I was very glad they let Echidna just show up and be a villain. I do wonder if they're going to use Echidna again, maybe, because she felt very underused in this. Granted, she's very underused in the book, too. But I think this show is an opportunity to, like, expand on things like that, you know, be a little better about it. Like, this Chimera design is really cool. Could we see more of it? This, like Echidna, we still haven't seen her true form. Can we maybe see her true form later? I don't know. But, yeah, look, I'm always going to be real with you guys. Some people are really mad at me for how I felt about episode 3. It's like, okay, do you want me to lie? Do you want me to be disingenuous with you? I'm not going to be disingenuous with you. Some people called me sexist for that episode, which is so weird. When I put up my reaction to episodes 1 and 2, like, you guys were actually very awesome about it. Everyone was very receptive to the fact that I didn't love the show and that I thought there were problems with the pacing and things that needed to be improved on. Even people who like the show were like, hey, I love the show, but I get what you're saying. So far I'm enjoying the show a lot, but you're right about the pacing or stuff like that. I was like, you know what, I'm very happy to see how receptive the community's been. Then suddenly episode 3 comes out, and I get at least like 30 people like yelling at me and calling me sexist. It's like, okay. But you know what, to those people who think I'm being unreasonable to the show or I'm the only one who didn't like that episode, take a look at the like to dislike ratio, guys. I'm not alone. Okay, there are a lot of people who are not happy with how the show is. Fortunately, there's improvement here, and I hope there will be more improvement, especially because, you know, we're going to get to Hades eventually. Hades is my favorite Greek god, along with Heracles, and I'd really love to see him done well. So, here's hoping. But, yeah, like, did you think this episode improved? Did you think it was more of the same problems? Have you enjoyed the show so far? Have you not enjoyed the show so far? Like, feel free to let me know what you think. Just, you know, be nice about it. Like, I don't know why everything suddenly changed once I started talking about Medusa. But, you know, Feel free to voice your opinions. I don't know how to end videos.